Hello, you guys. Happy Friday. It's Kristen here in sunny, not so sunny, actually, South Florida. As you can see behind me, it's kind of a gloomy day here in South Florida. So these are days where we have to make our own sunshine. And so actually today I threw on a tank top from my friend Sherry Hungerford. Thank you so much for this tank top years ago from our Fit Girl Republic. And it's really motivated me to get out and get moving today. So thank you for that. I'm also really excited. I'm going to Marco Island tomorrow for the the annual Nutrition Dietetics Convention in Marco Island. Super excited for that. But even though nutrition is really important when it comes to weight loss and health, we can't deny that emotions play a phenomenally big role in the weight loss journey. And so here today, I'm going to talk to you about a little bit of emotional eating and how fear plays a really big role in sabotaging weight loss. And I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why fear may be to blame for your weight loss struggles. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this topic. So the first reason why fear might be to blame for your weight loss struggles is because we fear eating quote unquote bad foods, like foods that we've been told for years that are bad, and we associate them with weight gain. A great example of this is the low fat, low cal food generation. For many, many years, low fat was the way to go, low fat dairy. And so we see all these fat-free foods that became popular. But as we're learning, and the keto fans out there are probably like, Kristen, no, we don't think that. But I want to make sure that you understand that there are a lot of people that still believe that they should avoid oil, they should avoid nuts, they should avoid butters and all these foods because they're considered high fat. And that's just obsolete information at this point in time. Although it's important to eat high quality products like this, but in the quantity as well. So they're oftentimes also associated with weight gain. If you're trying to gain weight, you're prescribed to eat more of these foods, right? But it's about finding a balance and not totally taking those foods out. Because the truth is, guys, high fat foods play a big role in our brain function, our satiety, and also our hormone balance. So it's really important to get adequate, healthy fats into your system. I'll give you a great example of myself. Years ago, I was obsessed with diets and weight loss, and I was only eating egg whites. I was convinced that egg yolks were the devil. My family has a history of high cholesterol, and I knew the egg yolks had fat in them, so I only bought egg whites. But the problem with that was that it was misinformation. And, for a long time, the recommended daily intake of cholesterol was 300 milligrams or 200 milligrams if you had any risk of heart disease. But as of 2015, those numbers absolutely changed. And now doctors tell us that it's important instead to make sure we're moving more often and that we're watching or really restricting our trans fats, our partially hydrogenated oils, and our added sugars, okay? Because the sitting disease, we call it, plays way more of an impact on our LDL, okay, our bad cholesterol, than actually eating cholesterol. So all those years we thought that eggs were bad for us, not so much, right, with the egg yolks. Another thing we fear is eating carbohydrates, okay? We could think that, we're automatically going to gain weight if we eat pasta, bread, rice, all these things. But the truth is, guys, that there are such things as good carbs. And there are good carbs called resistant starches that are excellent for our gut health. So it's important not to completely cut out carbohydrates as well, but it's about finding that right balance of carbohydrates to fuel your body and to make sure that you're keeping your weight at a healthy level. And the last thing with this fear of eating certain foods during the week, okay, that we only eat them on the weekends. And the problem with this is when we're swearing off, alcohol or let's say tacos or pizza, we're saying we can only eat it on the weekend, we are more likely to binge on those foods on the weekend because we're thinking that, we can't have them during the week and it's going to sabotage our diet, and we eat way too much over the weekend. So I'd much rather someone have a little bit of a few tacos here on a Tuesday and kind of have those during the week so you don't obsess over them during the week and they don't consume you during the week. And it's better to have a balance throughout the week, right, instead of waiting for the weekend. So that's one of the 3 reasons why fear does sabotage our weight loss efforts, is because we're afraid of even touching these so-called restricted foods that really shouldn't be restricted, okay? Reason number 2 why fear is going to sabotage any weight loss effort is because we fear there are no alternatives. We fear that if we don't follow a strict diet, okay, and work out like crazy, that we are going to not get the results that we want. And that is absolutely not true. And that fear is totally driven by the media. what we see on our news feeds, what the gyms are telling us. We have to do these high intensity classes to burn, hundreds and hundreds of calories, or we're not going to burn any calories at all. That is not true either. We see other people hashtagging no days off, all or nothing, no excuses. Discipline is everything. And yes, although discipline is important in terms of accomplishing any goal, it's important not to let it stress you out. And some people, have to have a certain level of discipline, right? And so it really depends on you and what works for you. But there is no one size fits all. While some people can follow a regimented plan that works for them, it's not for everybody. And you have to be able to understand what it is that you need, okay? Another thing is we get FOMO, we get fear of missing out. We see people getting results from these kinds of plans, and we think, well, if they can do it, then I can do it. Okay, but you have to ask yourself a few questions if you fall into this trap, that if these people are doing it, then I can do it too. First of all, you can't compare yourself to other people. One person's results is not guaranteed that everyone else is going to have the same results. Secondly, what was that person's journey like? Okay, let's say they did this 12-week program where they ate super, super clean and then they looked amazing at the end. How did they feel throughout that journey? Did they feel deprived? Was it something that they felt they could sustain for the rest of their life, right? And they were struggling the whole time. If they could not wait until the end of those 12 weeks were over, then that's a red flag right there, that this is not something that is sustainable and that's not going to give them the lasting results that they're looking for. Or more importantly, did those results last? After the 12 weeks were over, how long did that weight last for? Okay, was this something that they could incorporate into the lifestyle? And a lot of times it's not, and that's the unfortunate truth for lots of these diet plans out there. Okay, so it's always important to, before you fall into something you see on social media or you see that other people are finding success in, what is going to be successful for you? Don't compare yourself to other people. Lastly, guys, this is probably the third and most important reason why fear is potentially making you struggle on your weight loss journey, is this fear of failure, okay? And this fear of failure plagues all aspects of our life. A lot of us fall into this all or nothing trap, okay? We feel as if I don't follow a strict diet and work out like crazy, that I'm not going to lose the weight. So why should I even bother? Why should I even begin to try to lose the weight that I want? Or, if I start a diet and fall off the wagon, there's no point in getting back on. It's just going to be too hard for me, okay? Or the worst thing to feel is that I'm not good enough to succeed, or I'm doomed to fail. And unfortunately, I hear these things quite often, and this is what prohibits people from getting started in the beginning, because they're afraid of failure. And that's a mentality, guys, that I really work with people to try to fix. An all or nothing trap. It's not a healthy way to live, and you can't be so hard on yourself, and you have to be able to be flexible and forgive yourself if you come into some hardships, because guys, we are not perfect. That is the absolute truth. That's a problem. We can't live our life in absolutes. It causes way too much stress. When we put too much stress on ourselves, as you guys have heard me talk before, that is definitely can lead to weight gain, right? So we cannot cause stress with trying to understand all this information out there and trying to do what everyone else is doing, right? I'm always the kind of person that goes away from what everyone else is doing when it comes to diet and exercise. So why not? I encourage that for anybody, okay? So look at it this way, guys. Let's say you're driving one day and you get in a little fender bender. Okay, are you going to stop driving for the rest of your life? Are you going to stop driving for a while? Unless the accident's like super, super severe, you're probably going to get back in the car the very next day, right? You're not going to stop driving, right? Or let's say it this way: if you are a business owner and you make one bad business decision, okay, are you going to shut down your business and go into foreclosure or whatever? No, you're not, right? Unless the decision's terrible, but most likely not. Most likely you're going to stay in business. Or let's say you're a parent and your child does really poorly on a test. Does that mean that child is not a good student? No, that child just had a bad day. I was a teacher for 10 years. And if I had a straight A student that had a couple poor test results, I didn't think twice about it. I just assumed they had a bad day. Maybe there's something else going on in their life, or they didn't sleep well the night before. We are not perfect. We have our slip-ups, and that is natural. And so this all or nothing mentality cannot really apply to most parts of our life, and especially for a weight loss journey. Okay, so we have to be able to be flexible with ourselves and forgive ourselves, right, when things don't go our way. So the next question is, how do we overcome this fear? If you recognize that you have fear in your life and this might be really hindering your weight loss progress, how do you overcome this fear? The first thing I recommend to people is to just be open about the fear and really kind of dig into yourself and see if fear is something you're dealing with. I'm a big fan of journaling, okay? Like if something comes up in my life that I'm struggling with, I definitely journal about it, really digging deep into your mindset. And I've always talked about the importance of mindset on the weight loss journey, understanding your emotions, and fear being the one I'm talking about today. Of course, there are many other emotions that I talk about, and I'll share more about those next week. But journaling about it, talking to someone about your fear, someone that you're close with, a friend or a family member, kind of bouncing off your ideas and seeing, if they think that this is something you're struggling with, and if so, is something you have to tackle. Okay, so if you realize that fear is something that you deal with, okay, in terms of, your eating habits, and it's been hurting your weight loss progress or your health journey, then the next step is to create a plan to overcome this fear, okay? The first step is forgiveness. You have to make sure that, it's okay to be afraid, okay? A lot of people swear off carbs, like I said, or like, I can't eat this because I'm going to gain weight from it. And then they obsess over these foods, right? And that's not healthy for your mind or your body. So it's important to forgive yourself and realize that I have this obstacle that I have to overcome, okay? And so forgiveness is one. Two, trust yourself. Trust yourself in that you can overcome this fear, okay? That you're not in this all or nothing trap. So don't fall into the all or nothing traps. Forgive yourself and trust you can overcome this fear. And third is seek inspiration, okay? So like I said before about talking to someone about your fears, speak to someone that can lift you up. Okay, or I know social media can be a place to find inspiration, or someone that you admire, or talk to a coach or someone that can help you get to where you want to be. But seeking inspiration could be a great way to overcome that fear, or talk to someone that's been in your position and has overcome it. So get some advice from an expert or someone that has been in that position, okay? And if you're looking for inspiration, if you need some support, I do have a free Facebook group. It's called the Nutrition and Mindset Support Group. This is exactly some of the things that we talk about in this group. I share inspiration, I share fitness and nutrition tips, and I really try to talk more about the mindset, because as I've learned over the years of personal training, group exercise, and nutrition, the mindset is the #1 factor that leads to successful weight loss and an improved health. Health is wealth, my friends, and so that is why the mindset is so important, okay? Today I talked about fear. Next week I'm gonna talk about stress, okay? Because I don't know about you guys, but I've always been a stress eater, and I'm gonna share some ways that you can overcome stress eating in your life, okay? Have a great Friday. Maybe the sun will come out this weekend, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.